Hi there, this is Bibi Cameron here. Welcome to a new video. I hope you are doing well and stay safe. Today I'm going to be sharing a super duper easy technique to create easy and quick background panels for your projects using stencils, distress inks and stamps. And I'm also going to show you how to make 4 projects from one single sheet of cardstock and one single stenciled image. So to start, I'm going to grab half sheet of cardstock and this new stencil by Simon Says stamp. This measures 6 inches by 9 inches and this is called XL Rose Bouquet. So as you see there, this is even larger than the width of your A4 sheet of cardstock. It's really big. And I'm going to attach the stencil to the paper using Spellbinders Best Ever Craft Tape. That's the name of the tape. Then I'm going to use different distress ink colors to just add color through the stencil to the cardstock, and I'm using here Nina 110 pounds. You can also use Bristol smooth paper, which is fantastic to do ink blending. And I'm using a Nuvo blending brush. This is the large brush, but you will see me using different brush sizes. If I want to add color to a large area, I use a large brush. And if I want to add color or ink to a small area, I use a smaller brush. I'm using here antique lining distress ink. And it seems like I'm doing nothing on the paper, but this ink adds a really nice base for your stenciled image. I have done several experiments and I found that that works the best for me, but of course you can do or apply any color you might like. Now I'm going to use a medium shade of blue. I don't want something too dark or something too light, so I'm going to be using here Salty Ocean. And I'm just going to add Salty Ocean over the flowers. So once you have done that and you have applied this color that it only takes literally maybe 30 seconds, then you are going to grab a dark blue ink. And I'm going to use chipped sapphire. And I'm going to add this darker blue ink on some areas of the image, not all over the images, because I don't want to cover that medium blue color that I just applied. So I'm trying to add just over the edges of the stenciled image. Even though this stencil is super large, allowing you to create 2 panels in one go, or a large panel for a box or something else, is very easy and quick to work with this stencil. So I'm going to use now a smaller brush and also a very vibrant blue ink color. This is Blueprint Sketch, and because I'm using a smaller brush, I'm going to be able to add color on those areas I didn't add color before. Also trying to keep the ink at the edges of the image to keep that light that is provided for that medium light color. So I don't want to cover the whole image neither using this ink. It's just a little bit of ink here and a little bit of ink there. It takes only 20 seconds to do this, and then we can start adding colors to the lips. And I'm going to use a smaller brush and 2 different distress ink colors for the lips. Something super important I want to tell you here is that because if you mix green and blue, and depending the amount of green and blue, you still get green, but different shades of green. So I choose my flowers to be blue because I didn't want to spend time masking or doing anything else. I just wanted to make sure that when I added the green shades of ink over the lips, those lips are going to look green. And if I go a little bit over the edges of the lips and I can ink a little bit the flowers, it's not going to look like overwhelming. That's a tip for you when you are using stencils and you don't want to do, well, masking for this will be very easy because you just need to put a piece of paper to cover that area of the image. But I didn't want to do that today. I wanted to experiment something else, and then I just decided to do it this way. I always like to do blue flowers anyway. I love blue, But if I want to use a pink color for the flowers, for example, then I might be thinking about making brown lips, because that allows me to create a beautiful shade of brown for the lips if I go out of the line. So I hope that makes sense for you. When you are using stencils, you can think about it, think about the colors you are going to use, or if you just want to play with different shades of colors and make a rainbow of colors, that is also going to look super nice. This stencil is very versatile. All this has been done in real time, and when I did this, I didn't have any hurry, so I tend to be very slow. And if you are really a quick maker, you can do this even quicker. So now I'm going to add a darker green ink color to the lips. I'm using a small brush, and I'm going to add this ink here and there, not all over the lips, maybe at the base of the lips, just to add a little bit of contrast. As I went a little bit over the flowers with this green ink, I'm going to use Blueprint Sketch to fix that. And I'm just going to try to cover those green spots of ink on the flowers just using this ink. And if I go over the lips, it doesn't matter, the lips are going to look a little bit darker. I'm not going to remove the stencil yet because I want to add extra texture or an extra decorative element to this stenciled image. So I'm going to grab this rubber stamp here. This is flexible. It's called DECO Diamonds by Simon Says Stamp. And I'm going to use one of the darkest inks I use for the stenciled composition. This is Cheap Sapphire. And I make sure the stamp is fully covered by the ink. And then all I have to do is to place the stamp over the stencil, like so, and press hard so that I can stamp the image through the stencil on the cardstock. So I take my time to do this. Once this is done, I repeat the same process to complete the stamping over this large panel. Once this is done, don't worry about cleaning the stencil at all. We are going to carefully remove the stencil, and we are going to get that beautiful stenciled image with texture. And then we are going to use this as well. I'm going to place a sheet of paper underneath the stencil. You can see the ink over the stencil, and I'm going to apply a little bit of water. This is completely optional, I mean the water. And then I'm going to place the other half of the A4 sheet of cardstock over the stencil to transfer that ink to the paper. And to finish, all you have to do is to allow this to dry, or you can use a heat tool to speed the drying process. Now let me show you quickly 4 easy makes using these panels. So you can trim these in half to make C6 cards, or you can use decorative dies to die cut the panel in half. So I'm using here WONKY rectangles dies by Simon Says Stamp to add that beautiful decorative edge to those panels and to create a perfectly die cut front panel for my card. I also use butterflies dies by Simon Says Stamp to decorate this card, and the links to find all these supplies are in the video description. I really love to use vellum and mirror cardstock to add eye-catching decorative toppers to my cards, and I also like to play with hot foil banners because all these elements coordinate perfectly together and they add this beautiful elegant touch to anything you do. I use Tonic Studios silver mirror cardstock, and this butterfly here is made out of vellum. I just adhered over the other butterfly, so I die cut 2 of the same, and I die cut the body of this gorgeous butterfly out of gold mirror cardstock, and I adhered over the vellum. When this was dry, I then added over a little banner, and to make that banner I have hot foiled sentiments. I use Spellbinders Glimmer plates, also listed in the video description. And then I have all these banners ready to use on my cards. I like this sentiment here that says get well soon, and I just use scissors to trim this down to the size I need. And I love to add mirror cardstock at the background of these sentiments just to make it look more substantial. So I just use glue to adhere this over a piece of silver mirror cardstock like so, and then I trim this down, making sure I get a very little and narrow edge of that silver cardstock around the banner. When pressing down the white banner over the silver cardstock, you might get some glue around the edges of the little banner. So all you have to do is use a piece of paper to remove that glue. And that's a good thing about working with mirror cardstock, that you can clean any excess of glue with easy. I cut in half my adhesive foam pads just to make smaller ones, and I just stick one in the center of that butterfly. And then I'm going to add glue at the edges of the banner so that this banner is going to stick to the wings and also over the center of the butterfly. So that's all I did to create these butterflies. They are just stunning, and you can see more ideas using these dies on my blog. So please check out the link to my blog post in the video description to be redirected to my blog. So as simple as that, I use these first two panels that I made in the video. I just added these butterflies and I stick these panels over top folding C6 card bases. So this card measures 5.5 inches by 4.25 inches. And that's all I did for this card. Now let me show you a couple of projects using the other panel I made in this video. And for this card here, I just die cut that panel using a hard die, and I use it as a background piece for the butterfly. And for the background panel, I just use an embossing plate to add that texture on silver mirror cardstock. It's very hard to show you this card even in video or pictures because of the shine of the paper, but I really think that it's a very beautiful card, and it can be made in many different colors and also for many different occasions. This is also an invitation to use mirror cardstock on the front panels of your cards. So once I finished this card, I was thinking, okay, I want to do something different and not just cards. So I also made this little box here. You have seen me making these boxes all the time. And to make it, I just use the C6 panel and I score at 3/4 of an inch all around the edges to shape the lid of the box. And for the body of the box, I did the same thing, but the piece of cardstock I used was 1/16 of an inch shorter than the piece I used for the lid. I'm loving the look and feel of the paper I use for the box and also to make the topper on this card. It looks like if I use a gel press, but no, you know that I didn't. So that's another way to use your supplies. So that's all for today. I hope you enjoyed this video. Do not forget to subscribe to my channel or visit my blog for more ideas and inspiration. Thank you very much for watching and happy crafting. Bye!